Well, welcome back to the channel. This video we're going to go over what it's like to be off-grid. Um, Obviously I'm no expert. I've been doing it for a year now. Do have some niceties, but as you can see tonight I'm in a log cabin. It was 11 degrees this morning when I got up, and it got up to, I don't know, it's 32 degrees now, and sun will go down here in about an hour. So it never got really warm today. But anyways, I like staying in the log cabin. Old way. I've got a fire going in the wood stove. I've got our antique kerosene lantern going over there. I've got a propane stove in here temporarily until we get one of the buildings built, so I'm utilizing that to heat up my supper. But other than that, there's this stove. You can see the glow underneath the door. I'm going to stay here. And then we'll get on and I'll kind of walk you around tomorrow and the next day of what takes place up here in the off-grid place to keep it going, and some of the things that I've been doing. So with that said, I'm going to eat my supper. You guys have a good night. See you in the morning. Oh, nice warm toasty fire in the morning after sleeping up here last night. It's cold outside again. My cot's all ready to go for the next time. So what's it like to be off grid? Well, for those of you that do the hustle and bustle every day, 9 to 5 jobs or graveyard, whatever it is, or like in law enforcement, you work different shift hours. Being up here is a definite change of pace. It's relaxing. Sometimes you just don't know what to do with yourself because it's quiet. I'm far enough in to where I don't hear a lot of road noise. I don't have neighbors real close by, so it's just peaceful. It's a lot of stress relief. The only stress I get is the stress I put on myself trying to get things done. So today again it's cold. I'm working on the bunkhouse. That'll be in another video, or that's in the video that was just last week. So you can see I had a lot of troubles with that, trying to film that because it's so cold. The batteries would last just a couple of minutes and the camera would freeze up and I'd have to warm it up and start over. But we'll get around to some of the things that I do. Log cabin's equipped with the wood stove, so it keeps it toasty warm in here. Once you get this cabin nice and warm, it stays warm pretty much all night long. In fact, it gets almost too hot. I bought a propane cook stove for up here. It's not going to stay permanently in here. We're actually going to build a cookhouse at some point, and that's where it's going to go. But for a temporary place out of the weather and to be able to use it when I'm up here to make coffee or cook my supper like I did last night. It works great. Just hooked up to a little 7-gallon propane tank. Other than that, you can see from the videos we did last year, we cooked on top of the wood stove here, our grouse meal. So let's get on with it, and I'll show you some of the other things that we do up here off grid. Do have a wool blanket covering the door because it is a log cabin. There is some air gaps around it. Do have bars here that I put on so I can put a 2x6 in there so nothing can pull it open from the outside because I got the door swinging out, and that's just for room. But I do have a nice overhang. You saw probably from some of my winter pictures last winter. The ice coming down off of that. The roof's held up nice. It is insulated all the way down to the end. Friend of mine's trailer, sawmill. I've been splitting some wood. I don't require a lot of wood because I'm not up here full time in the winter. I'm going to be flying back this winter to Washington to spend it with my family, mom and dad and sister and my kids and grandkids and my wife who's down there right now. Go down there, so we'll spend the holidays down there. I'll get some videos down there of that, but in the meantime, some of the other things I've been doing, show you a couple of clips. I put in the fence post for the garden. Have not purchased the wire to go around the garden yet. Again, it's a money issue. Being retired, it's, you know, I have to, takes me a little while to save up enough money just to buy some of the supplies I need, so I have to prioritize. But I've got this priority next spring, as soon as the snow's gone, is to get this fenced and get some fertilizer in here. But I did, however, grow some potatoes. Not a lot, but you know, it's a clay, sandy soil. When I put them, you can see where I dug them up. They weren't very big, but they're good eating. They're organic. I got organic style golden potatoes, and they turned out pretty good. So the goal is next year to, again, as soon as the snow's gone, to get this fenced, get some fertilizer on here, i.e. Goat manure and maybe some topsoil, and till it in, and then get a true garden in for next year. Some of the other projects which are going to take some time is I need to bring in some gravel and fill up some of this low land right here, because eventually want to move the sawmill out there so it's away from the log cabin from where it's at, and it's a little bit flatter once I get the gravel put on there. Where I'm standing in this open area is where I'm going to put a greenhouse next year. So once I get the garden fenced in and all that, I'm going to start putting the greenhouse in here. As you can see, winter time, west is over there, so south is right there. This area gets a tremendous amount of sun, especially in the summer. This is always in the sun. So this will be a perfect spot for a greenhouse. Another goal I want to do, and again, it's one of those things, is right here, just where this little rise is, I want to knock it flat and put a little gazebo with an outside barbecue area, using some of these rocks to make the barbecue. One that you can stand up at, obviously not a fire pit. We'll put that there, but it's got to match the motif of the log cabin. So I'll use some spruce logs that are peeled and put them in there, and use spruce logs for the rafters, possibly even some of the old rafters from the log cabin when it was built. So let's get on to it. I will show you the other cabin and what goes on with that as far as being off-grid. I know you saw in the background my outhouse up here. It is a true outhouse. Doesn't have a door on it, so you get to enjoy nature when you are in there visiting the outhouse. But from past videos, you see that I also make compost toilets. So on those very cold nights, I have a compost toilet in both cabins, and you utilize that, and it's all biodegradable in bags, and so it can be in this soil like I talked about in the last one. You bury it down several feet, and this soil's pretty acidic where I bury it, and it just within a year the bags are gone because they are biodegradable bags. So let's go on down to the other cabin and I'll show you what goes on down there. So back to the tour of the other cabin for my off-grid location. As you can see, I got a little deck on the back. That underneath my blue tarp over there is actually a little freezer. That's what I run the generator for, to keep stuff frozen. It's about the right time of year to where I don't have to run the generator for that anymore, though. It's a couple more degrees cooler and I can leave the generator off for it. Cabin's about 240 square, 250 square feet. It's big enough for myself and my wife when she's here. It's a little cramped with more than that. No well. We have to bring water in, drinking water. We do have the little creek down below that flows, and I do have a small rain catchment. I'll show you that in just a minute. There's two of my cheapo little solar panels up on top on that side, and I know they're not facing true south, but it's where I put them to keep out of the weather. And I have two more on the other side over here up top, so they get the morning sun, so it charges a little bit. My little greenhouse Arctic entry that I made last year, it's on video. The back side is where I keep my propane tank, because I heat with propane. You see the pipe coming out, that's just a shower water pipe, so there's really nothing that comes out other than a little bit of water when you take a shower. We've got an Insta-Hot in there with the little pump. And then there's my 55-gallon drum for my rain catchment. It's currently frozen, and it's supposed to thaw, get up to 40 in 2 days, and I can get it rest away drained. It's about half full right now. I started draining it, but it just got too cold too soon. So that's the outside of the cabin. It's kind of how it goes. I don't have the internet here unless I use my phone. So we named it Rahala. That was the first letter of all of our, well, our one daughter and the rest of them grandkids at the time. So let's go on. So coming inside, I do have two bunks. When Rick, my Air Force veteran friend, shows up, or a couple of the other veterans, they usually stay in this bunk here. Top bunk, like any other small cabin, ends up being a catch-all. Where I sleep, but that also makes into a couch, and then a small bathroom, shower, compost toilet, and a sink there with a blue jug. Cook stove, which you've seen in some of the videos where I cook my meals, and our propane heater, and a little mini fridge, also runs off the generator. But again, it's getting that time of year, I can put all that stuff outside in the ice chest and it'll be fine. So less fuel. Do we have a television? Keep it in a box. It doesn't, we don't get any channels. Don't get any channels. But it does play DVDs. It's a DVD television, so if I want to watch something, I can plug it into my solar batteries and watch a movie, or when the generator's running, I can run it off that power. Well, you've seen it, a little bit of off-grid logging and milling. And some boards put together, 2x6s and 2x4s for next year. I don't have a lot of logs, but I got 3 left here to mill. Get them done. So this was a standing dead log, bone dry. It really doesn't even have to sit this evening. So because it's bone dry and solid, I have to go a little bit slower on my cuts. But not bad for the first 2 cuts. I'll try and get as many 2x6s out of it as I can. Well, there's a start towards next year. So, little by little, that top couple boards are kind of bunky, but I put them up there in case it gets wet. I'll cover it with the tarp, but they're not much good, so they're just kind of protection for the rest of them underneath. But anyways, part of off-grid living. So put in a flagpole this year, got that done. I just need a flag. They're like $40+ locally, so I'll get one, but it's just a matter of pinching pennies. So off-grid, I know there's a lot of people that are off-grid and been doing it for many years, but you know, I've been retired for a year and a half now, and just been trying to make it on my little retirement income. And so things are slow coming along though, but hey, I enjoy it. It'd be better if my wife was here full-time with me, but until we get a few more things done up here, that's not going to happen, i.e. a well and a little bit more room to stay, because we do have our little one. So, in the meantime, God bless, hugs, and hope you enjoy this little tour of our off-grid location.